we are getting ready to start a new unit, and there's some activities that we want to do to kind of get us in the frame of mind, kind of get us ready for what we're about to dive into. We want to access or create some background knowledge for us so that we're going to understand the different stories, the informational text, and the drama that we're going to look at. So we're going to take a look at some strategies we've done a couple of other times before. We're going to practice them again today. So let's see. Lily, will you read the learning target for me for today, please?
Through the use of visual imagery, I will connect with a character and convey her emotion/perspective with sensory language and collaborative poetry.
Thank you. So take a second and talk in your groups for me, please. And look for those words that jump out at you, ones that are important, ones that we need to work on, ones maybe we've experienced before and done some work with, and talk about why those might be important skills for us. Go.
Emotions and perspective.
Back to me, please, in 3, 2, and 1. Thank you. So, those of you that are going to be brave and willing to share out with me today, some of the things that jumped out at you and the why they might be important to you. Leslie.
We thought that visual imagery jumped out
Can you explain why? Why did you key in on that idea?
because visual imagery is important to understanding characters and concepts.
Helps the comprehension of things, right? You want to go ahead and find the marker and mark that for me while I call on someone else? Kyle, what do you think?
Emotion.
Tell me why.
Because everyone has emotions, and you gotta learn how to find out what emotion they're having, and what it means and stuff.
The clues to why that emotion is there, what's going on, and that sort of thing. Emily?
The collaborative poetry.
Ooh, tell me why collaborative and poetry. Why'd you pick both of those?
Because we've done something before, having to work together to create a poem.
Why might working together be important?
Because you have to learn to get along with people, because that's how the real world is.
Ah, good. You want to come and mark that for me? Davis?
Connect with the character so that you can understand how they feel and what's going on and sympathize emotions for them.
Absolutely. The more empathy we can create for a character, the better we're going to understand the story, and the more attached we'll get to the character, and the more we'll actually enjoy the story as a whole as well. Mark?
Perspective.
Oh, interesting. I'm glad you clued in on that. Tell me why.
Because if you don't look at something necessarily in somebody's perspective, then you might not ever understand why they do something or why something would happen.
And so why do you think that's an important skill to learn? To be able to look from someone else's perspective, why would that be important? Not just in our story, not just in our class, but just in general.
Because then you can work with somebody instead of just saying, no, I'm right and you're wrong.
Better
You have
able
to
to
work with people, once again, that's the real world.
and understand where they're coming from. Because oftentimes when we can't get along with someone, it's very typically because we can't see their side of it. We can't see or understand where they're coming from. So that's a great skill to learn. Will you go ahead and add that up for me too? Thank you. All right, I'm going to give these guys just a second to go ahead and finish this, and I'm going to tell you why I think that some of these ideas are important. We're all about making sure we can work collaboratively because most things you're going to do in life involve other people. The majority of the time we have to work together. We have to be able to get along. Because otherwise, we're not going to be good at those different opportunities. Especially as you look towards high school next year, you're going to have all kinds of opportunities to work as a team, to work as a club, to get involved in things. You're going to want to be able to work with other people, and it's not always the easiest skill to have. Sometimes we like our way, my way or the highway kind of situation, and we have to learn to get past that so we can see from someone else's perspective and their ideas. So that's why we want to focus on that. The other reason we're really doing this today is I want you to start to connect with a character that we're going to be reading about for the next couple of weeks. And the way that we're going to do this is through our visual imagery. So we're going to create the picture in our mind to help us with that understanding. And then you're going to be able to better connect with this character that we're reading about. Okay? All right, so all I want us to do now is I want you to tag each other in the group. Choose a person. Leader. Who's my group leader that reports points? You're going to start this off. Whoever the group leader is, you start it and then you rotate around. give an example of sensory language as a little review before we move on. A sample of sensory language to your table, and then you choose the next person that's gonna go, till everybody gives one. Go. Okay, so once you got going, I heard all kinds of different examples. I heard you naming them and explaining what they were, so you're right with me again. That's awesome. So I told you guys we're gonna revisit a couple strategies that we've tried before, and so the strategies are visual imagery and the collaborative poetry, and creating that poetry collage. Those are the two strategies we're gonna work on today. So for the visual imagery piece, all I need you to do is to put everything down, figure out how you're gonna be comfortable, because you're gonna close your eyes for me, because we're gonna work on creating the image in our head. Some of us struggle when it comes to making the pictures in the head. So we're gonna keep working on it. We're gonna keep trying it. It's okay. That's why we work on things, to get better, right? So I'm gonna read something to you to help us connect with our character, and I want you to try to create some images in your mind as we go through this, okay? Our story begins a long time ago. We're still finishing a card up, and that's okay. You'll have the opportunity, but we're gonna move to the collaboration piece, where you guys are working together as your group. So you're gonna take your 3 note cards, and you're each in your group going to share what you have written down. Okay, and remember we're gonna put it together in a collaborative poetry, which means you guys are gonna create a poem from those different lines. So you're gonna decide, okay, what order should we put our note cards in to create that poem? Noticing which lines look like they show up and should be, ooh, this has definitely gotta be the closure, this is definitely the end of the poem. Or which one should start it, or maybe one comes across and you're like, ooh, this should be the title of the poem. You don't have to use all 3 cards from every person. However, every person must be represented. So you can't say, oh, your cards are no good, we're not using yours. That's not what we're doing. In everybody's perspective here, and you have to show representation from every person, okay? So you can just line them up as you guys read them and share, line them up in the order that makes sense to you, okay?
So can you share with me what you're learning today?
We are learning how to work collaboratively on a project because we need to learn that everybody has an idea to work something, and we have to kind of like work together to fit it into a good cohesive piece of writing.
And we're making just a poem with we're making our own little poem with quotes that we wrote in our essay, not essay, but in our pieces of writing, and we're putting it together to make one final product.
To use sensory language, and that's important, so we can really get like points across and make the readers like feel something.
Okay. Why do you think that's important for you to learn?
I think it's important because it's a way to express yourself, and if you don't express yourself, then the world is never going to hear you.
And it's also a creative way to be able to work together and not just like do things from the book. And